When most Americans think of Chinese food, they imagine orange chicken, chow mein piled high in white takeout boxes, sweet and sour sauce glowing red under fluorescent lights, and fortune cookies cracking open at the end of the meal. But if you traveled to China and asked for these dishes, you'd be met with confusion. Because the truth is simple and surprising. American Chinese food does not exist in China. So how did an entire cuisine, eaten by millions every day, come from a place where it's completely unknown? The answer isn't just about taste. It's about immigration, racism, survival, and adaptation. In the mid-1800s, Chinese immigrants began arriving in the United States in large numbers. Many came seeking opportunity, fleeing poverty, famine, and political instability in southern China. They worked in mines, railroads, laundries, jobs most Americans didn't want. But they were not welcomed. Anti-Chinese racism spread quickly. Chinese workers were blamed for unemployment, crime, and economic hardship. This hostility eventually became law. In 1882, the United States passed the Chinese Exclusion Act, the first major law banning immigration based on race. Chinese communities were isolated. Many professions were closed off entirely. But one job remained barely accessible: cooking. Opening restaurants became a way to survive. However, there was a problem. Authentic Chinese food relied on ingredients that were expensive, unavailable, or unfamiliar in America. Traditional flavors were often seen as too strange for white customers. Strong spices, bitter greens, bones in meat, and shared family-style meals didn't fit American expectations. So Chinese cooks adapted. They substituted ingredients. They changed cooking methods. They added sugar, thickened sauces, deep-fried proteins, and softened flavors. Dishes were designed to feel familiar, crispy, salty, sweet, while still being exotic enough to attract customers. This wasn't about authenticity. It was about survival. Dishes like chop suey, chow mein, and later orange chicken weren't ancient Chinese recipes. They were new creations, engineered for American palates under social pressure and discrimination. And they worked. By the early 20th century, Chinese restaurants had spread across the country. Ironically, at a time when Chinese people themselves were legally excluded from American society, their food was becoming wildly popular. But this popularity came with limits. Restaurants often leaned into stereotypes, decor, names, menus, all carefully crafted to seem non-threatening and entertaining to white diners. Chinese food was accepted, even celebrated, while Chinese people were still viewed as outsiders. This contradiction shaped the cuisine itself. In China, food is deeply regional. What people eat in Sichuan is completely different from Cantonese cuisine or northern wheat-based dishes. Meals are shared. Flavors range from intensely spicy to bitter, sour, and fermented. Texture matters as much as taste. American Chinese food flattened this diversity into a single category. It became predictable, standardized, portable. The iconic white takeout box wasn't Chinese, it was American. Fortune cookies weren't Chinese either. They were invented in California. Even the idea of ordering one dish per person instead of sharing reflects American dining culture, not Chinese tradition. So when Americans say, "I love Chinese food," what they often mean is a cuisine born in America, shaped by immigration laws, prejudice, and adaptation. That doesn't make it fake. It makes it historical. American Chinese food is not a failure of authenticity, it's a record of resilience. Every menu tells a story of people forced to change in order to exist. Of culture bending, but not breaking. And that's why it doesn't exist in China. Because it was never meant to. It was created here, by immigrants navigating exclusion, survival, and opportunity, one takeout box at a time. The next time you open that container of noodles and sauce, remember, you're not just eating food, you're eating history.